Take a look.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post, you already know the vibes. And I'm back at you with your NXT review. And I'm gonna just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. This week's episode of NXT was taped last week. It's a pre-taped show, and a big spoiler that came out of the show was Shotzi is injured. She revealed earlier on her Instagram or Twitter or something like that she tore her ACL and she's going to be out for 9 months, I believe. So, I'm going to just go ahead and fast forward to the main event of this week's episode of NXT. It was supposed to be Shotzi versus Lyra Valkyria for the NXT Women's Championship. The match started off pretty fine. The crowd was into it. They were hot. They were happy to see Shotzi. Right before they went to commercial break, Shotzi went for a DDT on the outside to Lyra Valkyria, and the way Shotzi landed, it looks like that's how she tore her ACL. And then it went to commercial break. You could see everything happening in picture. You saw the doctors and the medical team and officials coming out to check on Shotzi. She was trying to stand up. She was trying to put weight on her leg, but she couldn't. So what ended up happening was they ended up calling off the match. Ava came out and said, "We promised you guys an NXT Women's Championship match, and that's what we're going to give you." And it was declared an open challenge. And of all people to come out, it was Lash Legend. Lash Legend competed early in the night against, actually right before this match happened, it was before, she competed with Kalani Jordan, and she ended up winning that match. So Lash Legend actually competed twice. This time she competed for the NXT Women's Championship. And I gotta say, man, Lash Legend has really improved from the first time we saw her all the way up until now, man. You can see the improvement in ring. She's always been very charismatic, she has a very good look to her, but the in-ring is really coming along. She's really showcasing herself as more of a powerhouse. She's hitting choke slams and power bombs and all types of cool powerhouse type moves. And, this match was good. It was a pretty good match. And Lyra Valkyria ended up getting the win. She's still your NXT Women's Champion. And the funny part was, during the match, you saw Roxanne Perez looking at the monitor in the back. She was like, "Well, what happened?" And the other girls in the locker room were telling her the situation. And Roxanne Perez, she's pissed. She's throwing around TV. She's cussing and everything. She's pissed off because it's another superstar getting ahead of her and the NXT Women's Champion. Earlier the night, Roxanne Perez competed. She wrestled Ren Sinclair, and she ended up beating this poor girl with a submission. She hit it the pop rocks at first, and then she locked in a crossface and won via tap out. And like I've been saying for these past several weeks, Roxanne is showing more aggression. That heel turn is coming. Like, she's showing signs of a heel turn, but it's coming. She's gonna snap eventually. She's gonna go off, and she's gonna go full heel. But as far as the rest of this episode of NXT, it started off with a North American Championship match. Obafemi defending his title against Lexis King. And it was short. It didn't need to go too long because you're dealing with Obafemi. You're dealing with the rumor. You're dealing with brute force. You're dealing with the unstoppable power of Obafemi. It didn't need to go too long. Obafemi ended up getting the win. And even during the match, you had Mr. Stone come out. He's having, some words with Lexis King, who talked trash about him in front of his children. And Mr. Stone isn't feeling that too much. So the Wolf Dogs are out. They're celebrating the win. They're celebrating the fact that they're new NXT Tag Team Champions. They're talking trash. They're talking big noise about how they're going to take over the tag team division. And of all teams, you have Chase U come out because they were promised a title opportunity against the D'Angelo family. However, that wasn't the case. You have new tag team champions, so they're making their claim for why they should be the number one contenders. But then, out of all people, you have Axiom and Nathan Frazier come out. So Ava makes it official. Later in the night, you have Axiom and Nathan Frazier taking on Chase U. And this was a fine match, man. You have the speed of Axiom and Nathan Frazier going against the school spirit of Chase U. Andre Chase finally got a damn haircut, so good for him. Chase U actually ended up getting the win. Pretty good match, man. It was fun. A lot of high-flying shenanigans going on. Speaking of shenanigans, after the match, you have Chase U celebrating their new win, celebrating the fact that they're #1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And out of all people to show up on NXT, it's Gallows and Anderson, the OC, the Good Brothers, the Bullet Club, whatever you want to call them. They're here. Surprise, surprise, I didn't see this coming at all. And this kind of leads to the theory of, Tama Tonga possibly coming into WWE or NXT, because you have vignettes of somebody talking about Japanese proverbs and everything. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's going to be Okada. It's not Okada. But maybe, just maybe, it might be Tama Tonga. So now you have the Good Brothers in NXT. They're talking about, coming back and taking over the NXT Tag Team titles, taking over the NXT division. And they're saying they're here to separate the boys from the men. And they're going to be here brothering, whatever the fuck that means. But the Good Brothers are officially here in NXT. What the hell is this? They attack Axiom and Nathan Frazier and Chase U. And speaking of Chase U, you have Thea Hill backstage talking to JC Jane. And I want to say this girl's name is Jasmine. I didn't catch her last name, but she is quite the looker. And she's talking about how, she kind of blew her thing with old Riley Osborne for Valentine's Day. She took JC Jane's advice, which was horrible advice. And then you have Ariana Grace eavesdropping. She's trying to give her own advice, and Jace is like, listen, shut the hell up, NXT queen or whatever, which is no way to talk to the NXT queen. So this leads us to a match between JC Jane and Ariana Grace. And it was kind of funny because during the match you had JC Jane distracting the referee, and she's trying to get, Thea Hill to cheat, and she doesn't act quickly enough. But Jasmine, what's her face? She does. She ends up costing Ariana Grace the match. JC Jane gets the win. 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, JC Jane is celebrating with Jasmine. She pushes Thea Hill out the way. And Thea Hill's looking like, oh man, what's going on? She's looking all conflicted. She doesn't know what to do as far as Chase U, as far as her friendship with JC Jane goes. She looks lost. And of all the people to give her some type of guidance, it's Fallon Henley. She's set him up to the role of being a locker room leader for the NXT women's division. So, good for her. She's trying to take the women under her wing and show them the ropes, take them to the Gucci store and show them the loafs, all that fun jazz. There's that. But speaking of Fallon Henley, you have her former friends, her former homeboys, Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen competing in this blood feud that is sparked out of the span of 2 weeks. 1 week, Josh Briggs is showing tough love to Jensen. The next week, they're fighting. And it leads us to this match. And it was a pretty good match. It was a pretty solid, hard-hitting match. There was blood for some reason. Briggs was bleeding from his mouth. He hit 2 massive clotheslines from Hells that JBL will be proud of. And ended up getting the win. And after the match, he's hugging Jensen. He's saying, I did this for you. I'm actually coming around more and more on Josh Briggs as a singles wrestler. So, good for him. Good for me. We have the Orlando Combat Club challenging Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. And next week is going to be Catch Club Rules, which means Noam Dar won't know who he's wrestling until the bell rings. So it's going to be a surprise to him. It's going to be a surprise to everybody. So next week is for the Heritage Cup. Noam Dar is going to be defending his title against one of the Orlando Combat Club members. So, we'll see how that goes. Joe Gacy and Dijak are the NXT version of Batman and Joker. Dijak had Joe Gacy locked up somewhere, and this man's still tied up in the straitjacket. So, it's giving Batman and Joker. So, I don't know what this means. I don't know where this is going. I don't know why this feud is continuing, but I kind of like it because it's very unhinged. It's crazy. It's madness. It's the type of stuff I love to see from NXT. Speaking of things I love to see from NXT, you have Carmelo Hayes making a run for Player Hater of the Year. He's back in the barbershop. He's talking trash about Trick Williams. He's saying that he allowed the team to be called Trick Mello Gang because it's amusing to him. It was amusing to see Trick trying to think that he's number 2, maybe possibly number 1. But Carmelo Hayes he's being a hater. He's saying that, look, man, Trick was never on his level. He was just he was just his hype man. He was just the Robin to his Batman. He's just being a hater. And then he turns his sights on Ilja Dragunov. And speaking of Dragunov, he kind of, I guess, accepts the unofficial challenge from Carmelo Hayes. And I think at Roadblock, it's going to be Carmelo Hayes versus Dragunov for the NXT Championship. And I'm making the call right now. That's when we see the return of Trick Williams. And we finally see Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes at Stand and Deliver. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. And also, speaking of the NXT Championship, you have the D'Angelo family. You know, you have Riz and Stacks talking to Tony D'Angelo. And Stacks is saying like he wants another shot at the NXT Tag Team Championships. And Tony D'Angelo's like, look, man, it's over for that. We got to do something different. We got to go in a different route. And I'm thinking that Tony D'Angelo, he might be making a play for the NXT Championship. So this is another prediction. At Stand and Deliver, it's going to be Tony D'Angelo taking on Ilja Dragunov for the NXT Championship. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you cowards, you heard it here first. And now for something that I absolutely do not care about is Ridge Holland. You know, he's talking about how he beat up the Gallows last week. And I don't care. I don't care about what Ridge Holland was talking about this week. I don't care what Ridge Holland's going to be doing next week. Apparently he's going to apologize for his actions to the NXT universe. And I'm pretty sure, I'm calling it right now again, whatever he says, I won't care. Because I don't care about Ridge Holland, man. Hopefully they do something to turn this around. Because, you know, Ridge is doing a whole big pile of nothing in NXT. So we'll see what he has to say. We'll see what old Ridge has up his sleeve as far as, you know, his apology. But, you know, who gives a hoot? So that was this week's episode of NXT, man. Again, I want to extend prayers to Shotzi and her recovery from her ACL injury. She doesn't have the best of luck, but, you know, hopefully things turn around for her when she returns and, you know, handles business once he returns from this injury. But with that being said, guys, what did you think of this week's episode of NXT? Are you excited to see the Bullet Club in NXT? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Peace. I'm out. Peace.